Hello, Goosebumpers. Today we are going to be ranking and reviewing all the Monster Blood books. So we're going to be listing them from worst to best, basically. And we're doing a quick review on all of them. And I will start up now in this stupid voice. So yeah, that's what we're doing today, guys. We are going to review, rank, whatever, all the Monster Blood books. Not all of them necessarily, because they're still like Goosebumps Presents, but eventually these videos will get updated with the Presents versions of the book, since I do count them, but I am not like, Presents is not like my thing yet. I'm kind of slowing down on that. So eventually, whenever I get the Presents books, this will be updated. But, yeah. For now, let's just get to it. So at the bottom of the barrel, we have Monster Blood for breakfast. Not a fan. Did not enjoy. If you've read this book, you know it's not the best. Not a great book for one of the first 5 of a comeback series. Well, what do I hate about this book? Well, basically everything. The book is honestly just pretty fucking stupid. It's not very enjoyable. There's some really sus scenes in here. I'll say that. There's some nudity, I think. So that's not a plus. But the cover art's not even that good. I mean, Monster Blood looks aight, but it's just stupid. And honestly, this book, it just was boring and very unenjoyable, and I can see why a lot of people hate it. Yeah, this is so far, for me, throughout the Monster Blood series, up to date, the worst Monster Blood book. So, up next, we have number 5, Monster Blood is Back. If you've read this book, you know it's not the best book. It's certainly a little better than the previous book, Monster Blood for Breakfast. But this one is just, I like the generic concept. Well, not generic, the fuck did I say? I like the concept of a cooking show. Never seen that in a Goosebumps book before, from what I recall, or of what I've read so far of the Goosebumps series. But so far, this is probably the most unique Monster Blood concept. I'll give it that. But it's just not well executed. The book itself is fine. It's just the main thing, surprisingly, this book isn't actually terrible. But the main thing that makes me leave it so low is that this basically ruins the entire book, is the ending. I don't even want to say it. It's just so disgraceful. And it's just, like, so unwell thought out, and it's just so generic. And it's just basically terrible. It's just shit. It's just shit ending that ruins a book that wasn't even that good to begin with. I mean, the Monster Blood series has a lot of hit or misses. Like, if it hits, it hits. If it misses like a mile away. It's like throwing a baseball at a guy who's on a cruise ship far out in the middle of the ocean, and you're on the shore. I'm just saying, that's how fucking far out you are with this shit. So, honestly, not a good book. So, next up, in the number 4 spot, we have Monster Blood 4 in the number 4 spot. And guess what's in the number? Okay, I'm not even gonna start that stuff. So, Monster Blood 4. You all saw this coming to be one of the lower ones. Most of you, at least. I know there's quite a few fans of this book. There's a decent few amount. I know a few, but I also know a lot of haters. I mean, I think Ozzy fan doesn't even like this book. I'm not sure. Last time I watched his review, I think he said that, but I don't know. His review of all 62 under 15 minutes. Or 20 minutes. Can't even remember anymore. Anyways, guys, this book is just, for me, it's just not the best, but it's still not the worst book I've ever read. I don't think it's a very good, I think it's actually a terrible way to end the original saga of Goosebumps, however you say it. But I don't know if a saga is the right word, but whatever. The original Goosebumps series, it's not a good way to end it. It's just a terrible note to leave off on, especially if it's literally like the top 4 worst Goosebumps books in the original series. Not of all time. I'll definitely put it in the top 20, but it's still not a good book. The plot itself is okay. It's a nice concept that Stein actually wanted to mix it up and make the book something different for once, which I am a big fan of, and I'm really happy that he made Blue Monster Blood. I do hope one day, maybe, if we do get another Monster Blood sequel in possibly House of Shivers, which I doubt we will, but of course we are going to get returning monsters in that series, at least that's what it says. But that we see the return of blue monster blood or a new monster blood actually done right or better. The concept of blue monster blood is it multiplies you once you eat it, and it multiplies itself. It's basically how it looks on the cover. The cover itself is fine, but we're not really talking about that. But yeah, it's pretty much what it looks like on the cover and how it is in the book. The ending is just really stupid and predictable. You can see it coming from a mile away, and it's not even interesting. The first 10 chapters are super hard to get through because it's just boring, and I don't know, maybe it's just tired that day when I was reading it, but yeah, just not enjoyable. But I do like the idea of military, whatever, the government getting on this shit at the near the end of the book. I also like how I think we're at Aunt Catherine's house again. I can't remember, but I do like that Evan is back, of course. Evan's always a highlight for these books. He's probably one of the most prominent returning Goosebumps main characters, and I hope he does return eventually, just as a cameo, maybe in the next Monster sequel. Maybe he's like, oh, now a lot older, or this maybe could be a prequel to one of the Monster books that he never talked about, or something like that. But yeah, it's not the worst book. I think it's a little overhated, but I do think it's not very good still, and I do think it's still a pretty shit book, but not the most shit. So up next, in the number 3 spot, we have Monster Blood, the original. So this is where it starts to get good, guys. Personally, good book. It's, well, not good. It's just kind of, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It's not, well, actually, it's kind of up there and good, too. It's pretty good. It's pretty tasty. Delectable. But, it's kind of mixed on this book. Not in a bad way, but I'm like, is it more than good, or is it just kind of alright? It's not bad. It's not a bad book. Funny enough, same entry number that Monster Blood for Breakfast is, which is the third book in the series. This is the third book in original 62, and that was the third book in the original. Not what the fuck was I about to say? Original Goosebumps Horrorland. Original 21 or whatever. That's stupid of me. Anyways, pretty simple book. It's it just starts off Monster Blood. It basically just introduces you to the world of Monster Blood. It's one of the only Goosebumps stories with story building, since there is multiple parts and sequels, which most sequels are shit, except for the next 2, which I think you can guess what the number 1's gonna be. But yeah, it's just alright way to start the series. Nothing really notable about it. It's just better than the previous ones, because it's just not bad. It's just Monster Blood book. It's a Monster Blood book. There's nothing to it, but the ones that do have something to it, which we're about to get to in a minute, are quite good. So yeah, this book's just alright. So up next, in the number 2 spot, we have Monster Blood 3. Monster Blood 3. Personally, when I read it, I wasn't a big fan of it at first, but now I'll think back on it. I do actually like this book. It's actually not too bad. It's just a little better than your first Monster Blood, in my opinion. Obviously, it's better, but by a little. So, basically, the plot of this book is Evan grows, basically. That's pretty simple. It's pretty extremely simple. Like, no real stuff to it. Book itself is okay. I'd say this book is just an okay. There's not really much to say about it for being number 2, honestly. I mean, there's not really much to say about any of these books. They're just about a living monster slime that this grows. But yeah, pretty basic book. I feel like it was one of the less unique concepts. It was kind of just a boring concept. I think that's what really makes this book not number 1, is that the fact that it's just super not unique. Yeah, it's not interesting and didn't really mix it up. Like, it just, I mean, it did mix it up a bit, and I feel like there was some new shit in there. And I found very interesting, now the book was written. But overall, it's just okay. There was some good scenes, some scenes that are just kind of bad, kind of meh. But overall, well, moments. But overall, okay book. Monster Blood 2 is number 1. And nobody could have saw this one coming. The unbeatable sequel that isn't Haunted Mask 2 or Night of the Living Dummy 2, which, in my opinion, both beat this. Anyway, this book is phenomenal. For once, for the first time, probably the only time I'll ever say this about a Monster Blood book, it's a phenomenal book. It's actually really well done. They actually mixed it up this time, somewhat. So now, in the first book we had Evan's dog growing. I think that's what it was. I don't know. I can't really remember that well. It's been a really long time since I've read these books, guys. Like, especially the first two. But yeah. But this one, we have Cuddles. Cuddles. Oh my god, iconic. So already, we have nostalgia factor. And Cuddles was like the first mascot I was introduced to. I knew about him before I even knew the horror. I didn't even know what the fuck a horror was until before Cuddles. Or I mean, after Cuddles. I didn't know about the Mud Monster. I mean, it was still my favorite episode. I just didn't know it was a mascot, really. I didn't know about any of the other mascots. This was the first mascot I ever knew about. So that just adds on to the awesomeness of this book. The Cuddles segment is awesome. There is a great amount of violence in this book. Well, a decent amount of violence. I don't. If you are watching this and you haven't even read the book yet, I just go read it. I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't really want to spoil it because it's phenomenal. There's some definitely more violent stuff going on in this book. Cuddles is ferocious, to say the least. The monster blood is utilized pretty well in this book. And I do think that the book isn't the most unique one. I think Monster Blood 4 and Monster Blood's Back really mixed it up. But, I mean, I don't think they did well. This one is Monster Blood on crack. This is the first two Monster Bloods combined on crack. This is a good book, and I do recommend it. Top 20 at least. Very good book. 100% recommend it, guys. So that is number 1. It is an amazing book. So there you have it. Give me your laxative and call me Barack Obama. We ranked and reviewed all of the Monster Blood books, not including Monster Blood presents Goosebumps presents Monster Blood. But yeah, we'll review that. We'll do a individual book review on that probably before I even do this. Not to mention I even did individual reviews for the Monster Blood books. I should probably do that soon. I'm fucking stupid. Anyways, I must say these books were not the best. I do agree that the Monster Blood series is a little overhated, but also a little overrated. And honestly, most of them are just pretty bad. Like, half of them are literally just almost complete dog shit. Except for Monster Blood 4, which just has something unique going on for it. And yeah, that's really all I have to say after reviewing them. Most of them were pretty basic concept. Some of them were weird. Some weirder than others. Some were more tame, like the first two Monster Blood books. Except for the Cuddles segment. And, basically, pretty good. It's just pretty good books, for the most part. So, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys are enjoying the background music, and I hope, that my unboxing coming out here soon, that you will, enjoy it, because it's a very weird item. And there should be, either today or tomorrow, a Goosebumps news video with a whole bunch of news that we're going to be covering, so stay tuned for that.